Hey guys, I'm going to do a tutorial on pen because I'm assuming that most of you guys have pens at your house. It's a simple medium that you can use. I like to use these special little micron pens that are super nice and expensive, but I'm assuming some of you guys don't have them, and you can make really cool things with just a regular, this is from my dentist, just a regular pen. So I did an oil pastel and a watercolor tutorial just now. If you are interested, check those out. I'll share them with you. But our goal in creating anything that's from observation is to create the illusion of a third dimension. And so we're trying to make these look as three-dimensional as we can on a two-dimensional surface. So I'm just going to show you real quick. And I think most of you know, especially if you've taken Art 1, but if you don't know, there are different techniques that you can use when adding value the pen. So I'll just over here real quick do a few. So cross-hatching. And I'm using a really thick paper right now. Anyways, this is cross-hatching. So the closer together the lines are, the darker the value. The further apart the lines are, the lighter the value. So I can get really close together here, and then I can spread out. Now the other thing with these pens is honestly the amount of pressure that you apply affects how dark the pen comes out. So if you push harder, it's going to be darker. If you press lighter, it's going to be lighter. Stippling, which we all know and love. If you're just really bored out of your mind and you want to stipple a whole piece, that's great. But it's going to be a lot of work. So just stippling is just lots of little dots, and the closer together that they are, the darker it is, and the further apart the dots, the lighter the value. Okay, so it's stippling. Just simple hatching is a different way, not cross hatching, just hatching. And then scribbling. This is a fun way. I do this quite a bit, honestly, when I'm trying to add value and I want to have a little bit of texture. Just scribble. And then the further apart your lines are, and the lighter and wispier they are, the lighter it is. The closer together they are, the darker it is. Okay. The other thing that's important when you're using pen and paper is that if you're trying to create an illusion of form, you have to use cross contour lines. So those are called cross hatching. These are called hatching. Cross contour is when it follows the form of the object. So if you look at these, you can see that these are round, and we want this to look round like that looks round. And I started off with that one using kind of cross contour lines, but with oil pastel you have to blend a little bit differently. So, and I'm going to try to do this without moving the paper, and my hands don't like this. So what I would do here is start with the edge to just give yourself a border, and then you're just going to use cross contour lines to create that form of the sphere. They go kind of fast. So you can use really controlled pen lines, or you can just kind of be expressive and free and see how they work. The looser you are with a pen, the more of a drawing it will appear to be. I'm going to turn my body. So if I just came in and did straight lines all the way across, I would have value, but it wouldn't look three-dimensional. It wouldn't create form as well as if I'm not saying you can't do it that way. Well, sorry, you can't. I'm not saying one can't do it that way, but for our class, I want you using cross contour lines because it will help you to learn how to create that illusion of form. So my light source is up here. I don't know if I said that. So I'm making my shadows down here. And I just kind of spend time going back and forth. And right now I'm just getting more of like a mid-tone value down. And I'll go back over it. My hand's gonna end up in that. So I didn't realize until I started doing these videos how much I really move my paper, which kind of got me thinking. It really is important to know the way that your hands kind of work. And if something doesn't feel right, like normally it's not hard for me to make straight lines, but if something doesn't feel right and you're like, I just can't make that line, turn your paper so that your hands can do what they're trying to do or what your eyes are telling them to do. Because I think the direction of my paper is a big deal with when I'm trying to make specific directional lines. My hand's probably in this, I'm sorry. Oh look, it's soaking it up. I hit it. Sorry. Hi guys. Am I hitting your camera? Okay, so right now it looks like I have, I mean some of you would say I have a full range of value, but I definitely don't. I have midtones and I have a big highlight, okay? So, once I feel comfortable with the direction that my lines are going, how do I want to do this? I'm really making my highlight in a different spot than I said I was going to. But it's because I can't move my paper. Okay, so now I'm gonna come in and I'm really gonna start getting dark over here. And I'm gonna just add some cross hatching where I want these values dark. So when you're doing this with any subject, let's say it's a cupcake or let's say it's a piece of candy, make sure you're considering every surface. So thinking about, like, let's say that I'm drawing chocolate candy right here, something like that. I need to pay attention to where my candy's touching. Is it touching a background? Is it touching another piece of candy? Is this darker? Is this darker? Asking myself which area is darker. Because if this were up against something, there might be another subject here that might be darker than this. So I would have to be intentional to leave this area lighter than this area because you want to make sure that this is darker than the foreground. Because otherwise, they'll either run together or it'll look like trick your eyes to thinking you're not sure which one's in front of the other. Also, you can't really go overboard with pen. The more value you add using pen, the better it will look in the dark and the midtone areas. Now you can go overboard in the highlight areas. If you just add pen everywhere, all over this thing, and it's all the same value, then it will look overdone. So now I'm coming in, I'm just almost kind of scribbling. I'm not even being super intentional because I already have my line work down. It's kind of leading me. But right now I just need this dark. It's going to take a lot of time. But hopefully you guys are watching lots of good shows, staying off your phones. And it's real easy to do this in front of a TV. Kind of. I'm pretty bad at multitasking, but you guys are good at it, right? See how I'm kind of just fading out what I'm doing with lines that aren't as close together? Might be hard because I'm doing it kind of fast to see, but when I pick my pen up, I'm spacing my lines out. and letting my shadows kind of blend into midtones. But I'm also trying to pull these darks out a little bit. I think most of you guys did a pen drawing in Art 1. So if you had me for Art 1, you should be familiar with this. But if you didn't, this will be good. Okay, I think I might call this one quits and not completely finish it because it's taking me forever, and I think you probably get the gist of it by now. But basically what I wanted you to see with this is that you can create a very impressive piece and detailed piece with just pen and paper. You don't have to have any fancy medium to create the illusion of form. Sometimes it's more fun if you have a different medium, but honestly, I enjoy doing this quite a bit. It's kind of, I don't know, calming, repetitive. And like I said, your lines don't have to be smooth and even. They can be scribbly. Just as long as you're kind of consistent through the whole thing. And also making sure you don't have any defined outlines is really important. Like anywhere, see how there's kind of like a separation right there? I would sit here and spend some time kind of blending that out because you don't want to be able to see a separation of value. You want it to be smooth and even. And sometimes that takes just kind of going back and forth over it until you feel comfortable with it. Okay. Okay, so if I were going to completely finish this to where I was completely satisfied, I would blend, let's see, I'd blend this area a little bit more out. I'd blend down here. I would pull my values out just a little bit more, and then I would create a cast shadow. But that takes time that you probably don't want to sit here and watch this. But overall, just remember you need your shadows, your midtones, and your highlights. Make sure you're using cross contour lines, not straight lines, to create the illusion of form. Now you can use straight lines to create shadows, but make sure your overall piece has cross contour lines, if that makes sense. I would make this side darker around the edge, clean it up a little bit, but I think you get the idea.